And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.
Howdy folks, I'm Darren, and welcome to 8th Day Chronicles here at Cross Timbers Farm. What a beautiful morning here on the farm. Low humidity, temperatures in the 60s this morning. Our highest today is supposed to only be in the low 70s, really all week. After all those 90s and 100-degree days, this feels so good. And we've had a lot of high humidity. The humidity is cleaned out and cleared out. Low humidity, full sunshine, temperatures in the low 70s, and a pretty good breeze is going to be blowing all day today and all week, really, they say. Just what a day this is. Beautiful. This is the day the Lord's made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Boy, does it feel good to be alive this morning. Hay cutting day. And we're so thankful for this day. You know, it reminds me, yesterday, doing my daily devotional Bible studies, and I studied a portion of scripture from 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. And I'm going to pull out my phone and read this so I don't misquote it, because my memory about quoting stuff is always not the best. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 and verse 11 says this, and that ye study to be quiet, and to do your own business, and to work with your own hands as we commanded you. Wow, let that sink in a minute. Let's study to be quiet. In other words, let's not go around being a loudmouth and babbling and getting in everybody's business. Let's do our own business, and let's be meek and humble and quiet, and let's work with our own hands. There ain't no room for laziness, as we were commanded to do. Thought for the day. All right, let's go get the tractor fired up and the little Kubota, and we're going to get it hooked up to our drum mower, anticipating cutting hay here in a couple of hours. The dew's still on the ground right now, but with this full sunshine and wind that we have, this steady breeze, the dew should be off this grass and off the hay fields pretty soon. So we're going to go ahead and get everything hooked up while that's happening. Thanks for being with us. Let's go get at it. We're going to cut our test plot first. We've got our tractor and drum mower up here in the test plot ready to go, and the test plot looks fantastic. So thick you can walk on top of it almost. our test plot extension, if you followed the channel along, you know we added some below. And guess what we got coming up in there? Foxtail. So we're only going to cut the original test plot and then some of what's really good below, but not all of it. We're going to leave a section at the bottom. It's too weedy, and we'll bush hog that later. We got some serious pre-emerging herbicide sprays to do this coming winter and early next spring to control it. But this will be should be our last cut of the year on the test plot, so we're not really worried about it. We can bush hog it down, and no worries about that being kicked back up in the hay later by a tedder or a rake, so it'll all be good. We're going to go ahead and cut this in probably about an hour. We're going to give it a little bit longer to let this dry out and let the sugars and starches get good in it. Then we're going to cut it and move on to the main hayfield. The main hayfield's going to be a little bit of a challenge. You know, we've got that foxtail problem back there, infestations in some areas, in a lot of areas actually. So we're going to be cutting around some of those infestations. And you know, you can't go way down in and come right back out in a little narrow strip because you never get it raked out of there unless you want to do it by hand. So we're just going to cut straight along where we're out of that foxtail but into our good hay. And I've had maybe some suggestions that I just go ahead and cut that and bale it later because goats will eat that. They'll eat it right up, no problem. And cows will too, but horses won't. So there goes a big old red-tailed hawk. Boy, that's a big one. So we're gonna stay away from that foxtail for our horse quality hay. And then after it's cut and baled, if we decide we want to go back and cut it, then we'll do that. And bale it if we find somebody that wants that hay with the foxtail in it, because it's going to have it in it. But today we're only going to be cutting horse quality hay. So we're going to start here in our test plot in a few minutes. I've already taken our drum mower, which is a Kowalski / Farm Max sold through Uniform. And it's a Polish built drum mower. This thing is awesome. It's the smallest drum mower Kowalski makes, and we bought the small one because we do small scale hay equipment. We're on sloped ground 90% of the time, sometimes steep ground, which I don't like, but it is. So, and we have a compact tractor, and a Kubota L3200, which is not a huge tractor. It's not a little subcompact tractor, but it's decent size for what we do. But we match our equipment to the terrain and the size tractor we have. So I could get by, yeah, with a bigger drum mower with this tractor, but because of our hills and steep places, I went ahead and went with the 135, which is their smaller model. Man, it runs phenomenal on this tractor. It don't pull this tractor around on hills too bad, and that drum mower is heavy, but the way it skids on the ground, this Kubota tractor handles it great. So we did take it up on our paved driveway, got it all leveled, got it level this way and this way, and it should cut phenomenal. We sharpened the blades about 2 days ago, tightened the belts, checked the gearbox oil. Everything's ready to rock and roll. We're just gonna give it about another hour and then we're gonna start. Okay, the test plot's mowed, or cut, however you like to say that. And a lot of thick hay here. And some of this had laid over, but we just couldn't cut for the rain and the weather, but we're gonna make the best out of it we can. This is still premium hay. Hoping for good dry down. All right, we've done moved the tractor out of the test plot through the gates, and we're getting ready to head to the main field, cut around all that foxtail. We're gonna get as premium hay off that as we can and leave the rest and bush hog it later, unless we get word that somebody wants it. Let's get started on this main hay field. This is gonna be a little tougher for me to mow because I'm gonna have to go with the mower to the inside so I can see really well and ride right along the edge of all that foxtail and start cutting where it's not and where it is. That dividing line, and cut that good hay and leave the foxtail infestations, because we'll come back and either cut that with a hay mower later or bush hog it, one or the other. But I sure don't want it mixed with our good hay. I'd love to finish mowing in time this evening, cutting hay, to still have a couple hours to hook the tedder up and run through this with a tedder. So we'll see. We're ready to start cutting the main hay field, the sections we're gonna cut. Because we had to wait and so much rain, just rain every week. We've had quite a bit of crabgrass show up that we normally don't have to deal much with. Yeah, there's some always here and there and yonder a little bit, but it never really gets to seed much when we cut when we're supposed to, so it's minimal. But because we've had to wait, there's been quite a bit of crabgrass showed up in all our fields, which crabgrass in and of itself is not that bad. Matter of fact, I have read on hay talk forums and stuff where a lot of people grow crabgrass on purpose. They say it's very high in protein, it's good nutritionally for cattle and sheep and horses, goats, whatever. But personally, I don't much care for it. But it's showed up in our fields. It's always been there somewhat, but you'll see a lot of hay, you'll see a lot of it going to seed where we just had to wait. We had no choice. And we may choose some kind of a sprays next this winter to help combat that. We usually kick our tractor on up in a little higher gear when we're cutting the main hay field up in the high range, first or second, and let her roll. But because of how this is going to be like this and dodging, we're going to call the foxtail obstacles. We're going to be going around all those obstacles. It's going to take a little longer. And I'm going to be going a lot slower so I can judge where I'm at and what I'm cutting and not cutting something I shouldn't be cutting. So let's get started. It's getting up in the evening. well, I've cut what I'm gonna cut, at least for now. Once I get this baled, and I may have a few nibbles, if you want to call it that, on somebody that might want this with a foxtail in it, just for whatever. I'm not sure what they want it for, but somebody may want it. But I'm not going to cut it till this is baled, because I do not want it mixed. And I don't know. This is the thickest hay we've ever cut. Ain't it a shame that the rest of that's got all that foxtail in it? It was hard to mow. It was so thick. Look at this. I mean, it's just piled. It was coming out of the back of that drum mower, just so piled. It's unreal. You can, some of it don't even look like it's cut, but then you pick it up. Have mercy. Man, is it good quality. What's here that we cut today is premium. It is premium hay. It's full of Timothy and orchard and some Kentucky bluegrass and a little bit of crabgrass, but not as much as I thought maybe there was, but goodness gracious, I'm gonna step right here just barely off the camera and pick it up. Look at that. Weed, almost weed free. Man, sakes alive, is that a lot of hay. No more than just what we've cut here. We're gonna have a good baling off this. This is gonna be some really good stuff. Look how leafy. It's just about all leafy material. And orchard, fescue, and Timothy. Probably more orchard than anything. Timothy would be second, then the fescue, and some Kentucky bluegrass and a little bit of crabgrass, but not a lot. The crabgrass was more up along the fence rows. Goodness, lots and lots of hay here. And what a crying shame, as the Mavericks used to sing, that we're having to leave probably 2/3 of it. We may cut it later, we'll just see. Okay, we got our Rhino PT207 hay tedder hooked up, and I've adjusted it to the ground. You don't want your tedder so low that your tines are digging into the sod, but you don't want them high enough to where you're missing hay. You want to kick as much of that hay as you can. So you want your tines skimming the ground. And we always make one lap around the field and watch real closely. If we see it digging in any, kicking up sod, then we'll stop and give it one turn up. But if it's leaving hay, then we'll give it one turn down. I think we're really close. This is usually where we start it with, and we'll adjust from there if necessary. We finished cutting about an hour ago, and we're gonna have time, I do believe, to ted everything before dark. So we're gonna get this all kicked out. Goodness, it's thick. So come along with us. Okay, our tedding is done. We got it tedded. The sun's starting to go down. It's still up for now, but it ain't gonna be long. Till the sun will be down, it's gonna be dark. We got the hay fields tedded for the first time. We kicked them pretty hard, and good grief, this hay in this main hay field and the test plot's thick, thick. It's a shame that we've had to leave 2/3 of it, but it is what it is. We're gonna smile, make the best of it. God's good all the time, and all the time God's good. So, we got it kicked, and we will probably kick it again tomorrow. It's so thick. And then we'll let the hay tell us from that point on if it needs tedded anymore. So, and if we ted it more past tomorrow, every time we do, we'll be tedded gentler and gentler as you can with a tedder. What we'll do is slow down that basket speed, but pick up our ground speed in a higher gear, but at a lower RPM, and ted it as gently as possible to make the best hay we can. And I'm gonna spin the camera and let you see just how much hay's been left. It's unreal. Just on this top section. Look up there. Can you see how much has been left? That's unreal. But there's not much we can do about it. We've cut out the foxtail. You can see there's a big patch there in the middle. All that down in this bottom, we've had to leave all that. All this up in here, and a big patch just right here. So it is what it is. What hay we have cut, boy, is it gonna be good stuff. Look at that, about all leaf, and it is so soft. It's most of this right in this area where I'm standing is Timothy, a little bit of orchard, but goodness gracious, it is so soft and tender. It's gonna make some really good hay. And depending on if we get word back from someone that might want this other hay that's got all the foxtail in it, we might cut that after this is baled, but we sure don't want to mix that with this. So we should have 5 days of sunshine and nice weather, breeze, low humidity. Our fingers are crossed, and we pray the good Lord smiles on us. You know, if it rains or something like that, it is what it is. That's God's will, and we'll be happy with it and smile and go on. But we would really like to see some good hay off this, and I think we're gonna get it. There's just, the volume's gonna be low because of what we had to do, cut around stuff and cut only probably about 1/3 of this field. And we're just gonna look towards next year and think of how good our hay's gonna be next year without all this foxtail. You know, you gotta overcome some adversity sometimes. Life's not a bed of roses, and God never promised us a bed of roses. Even if we're a believer and we've given our life to Christ, that does not mean that we're immune from these things, that He's gonna just take His hand and protect us from things, because the Bible says it rains on the just and the unjust. And these weeds and part of our hay field being just decimated with it, it's just a hump in life, and we'll overcome that. And on the other side, next year, when we treat for all this foxtail, as good as our hay grasses are, man, if we just was without the foxtail this year, you talk about a bumper second cut we would have. But maybe next year. Next year's load might even be better than this one. Thanks for being with us. I really appreciate it. Come back with us as we ted this again, probably tomorrow, and then we will be, the hay will tell us when. We'll do the twist tests and all that stuff, and we'll be back with you when it's time to rake and bale this. I pray God blesses you and your family, and I pray y'all have a fantastic day.